So my presentation is a solution to teaching in a mask. So first, like with your partner or like people around you, what are some challenges you have noticed with learning in a mask? And then give me a thumbs up when you're done.
Right up in the face sometimes.
For me, when I'm thinking like with a teacher, it's like maybe it's hard to.
Or it's hard to hear.
Sometimes, yeah. Mostly it's like kind of, just like in general, just like get people's emotions.
Okay. So does anyone want to raise their hand and share? Lincoln.
It's hard to hear. Muffled speech.
Yes. And any others? Yeah, William.
It's hard to talk because it muffles your speech.
I agree. And anyone else? Yes.
It's hard to like judge people's emotions.
Yeah. Okay. So when I interviewed Lily Cheatham, I asked her what is the biggest challenge you have noticed in class because of masks. And she said being able to hear and understand other people. And like when you don't understand, like you can't like fill in those gaps or look at people's whole face, so it's much harder. So with this, I wanted to improve that, like being able to hear people in class. And so these are some tips from pediatric care that was mentioned in an article. And the first one was amplify verbal and visual cues. The second was consider the different types of masks, like cloth masks versus disposable masks, and like how wearing like a disposable mask, people might be able to better hear you, and using a microphone to avoid voice strain. So I was thinking about like my solution and like how I could use one of these, because these are like tips from like actual pediatric care, so they would also be safe options. And I decided that like I can't force teachers or anyone to wear a certain type of mask, and I feel like teachers have already been amplifying verbal and visual cues, so I decided to emphasize using microphones. So here's my solution, and I'm just going to hand these out as I talk about it. So objective one is to have teachers like fill out a survey about who needs a mask, and this would be on March 2nd. Then the second would be to get all the teachers their microphones and like get all the microphones set up. And then the third one would be to actually have teachers start wearing their microphones in class by the target date of March 15th, and then have them continue to wear them. So objective one, like I mentioned before, so this would be done at faculty meeting on March 2nd, and it would be just like a Google survey. And I interviewed Ms. Clausen, and I was just talking to her about like the accessibility of microphones, and she said administrators have made it clear that everyone has a microphone and there is IT support. So this leads me to conclude like this is an accessible option that we can lean towards. And then objective two would be to get all the teachers set up with their microphones. So I had the idea to have teachers get all their microphones set up during Fridays, and then also practice wearing them so that they are more comfortable with it. So in this survey, I was just asking like, do you think microphones would be effective? And this was the teachers' responses. And so they do think that it would be helpful, but a lot of them have just resisted because it's not very fun and it's kind of a hassle, but it can also be a little bit interruptive if it has feedback. But it would be more effective, and I think most of the teachers would be willing to wear microphones if they knew that students would be able to hear better. And then my objective 3 is to inform teachers of the target day to start, which would be March 15th, but then to also have reminders for the teachers, so it's not like they're just wearing microphones for the first week, but also continuing to wear microphones for the rest of the school year, and hopefully continue to wear microphones next year, like regardless if we're wearing masks or not. And then these are my works cited.
Question?
Milo.
Do you think microphones are cost efficient? Because I think they're pretty expensive to like get batteries and stuff.
But the school has enough microphones already for every teacher.
So what about the batteries?
I'm not sure about the batteries, but I'm pretty sure they're just normal batteries.
Is it rechargeable?
Rechargeable. Yes, Josh.
Is that mic that you're wearing right now the standard mic that the school gives out to
Yes.
everyone?
So I have a picture of it.
Okay.
This is like the standard microphone here at Brighton. And any other questions? Lauren.
Do you have any idea of how you could make it so students can hear each other better instead of just the teacher and the students?
I've thought about it, but it's just like, because if people like pass the microphone around, then they have to like sanitize it, which would just waste class time. So I think if students were just more aware of how loud they need to talk, then that would help that.
Cool, thank you very much. So pre-pandemic, they used to make sure we had mics too, so every classroom technically